Okay, so
So, October 29th, 2013, what were we doing?
October 29th.
Or technically October 28th if we want to start from the very beginning.
Well, if we start from the very beginning, we have to say how did we find tickets.
That's true.
So, late in October, I was telling my mom there was this Los Angeles Arcade Fire concert, and you could win tickets to it. And the only people that got into the concert were the people who won tickets. And it was through social media, different social media,
Instagram and Pinterest and Twitter.
and different challenges that they were doing. MTV and Sony, Intel, or whatever, the music experiment. And she said, "Oh, okay. Well, if you can win tickets, I'll buy you plane tickets to go to Los Angeles." And well, we're from Virginia. That's where we are now. And I was like, "Okay, yeah, all right, sure, let's do that." So I entered, and I got convinced Laura to enter her photo, and
Stayed up till like 4 a.m. in the morning trying
to enter something that
Yeah.
ended the next day. And well, we ended up winning tickets, and then my mom followed through and paid for the plane tickets. And that was my first time on an airplane, so I was on an airplane.
So what did you think about that?
Well, the first stop was to Cleveland, so that was a short flight. I was relieved when we landed, and then we took off from there to Los Angeles. That was a bit longer flight. It was fine. I mean, it was it was interesting.
How did you like the dreaded airplane food?
I mean, it was just basically little snacks, and it wasn't so bad because it was just stuff that was there's some almonds and hummus and stuff and whatever else we ate, so that was fine.
Oh, but they made us pay to watch TV and movies. That was
Sure.
not
So,
fair.
well, we didn't
anyway.
we didn't end up doing that, but yeah.
So when we landed in LA, took a shuttle.
Yeah, we took a shuttle, and there was an interesting conversation going on in that shuttle. There was this, he said it was a producer and also an actor, and he was talking with this woman who, her and her husband, had just
Got back from China.
Yeah, and they were going to Los Angeles, and her daughter maybe was in Los Angeles or something, and she was talking about all the different famous people that she's done stuff with, or award shows she'd gone to, or that was interesting. And then
Especially, I mean, you know, you always hear that everyone in LA is a starving artist and, you know, starving actor, and hey, first person we meet in LA is
and
an actor.
the one guy was talking about stuff, and then the other person, he was a composer, so they had the exchanging information and on, which is like, okay, that was really cool. And then we got to our motel, which was a Super 8. We basically got one of the cheapest ones we could find, which, looking back, we could have got something better, but, you know, this is so much for the plane tickets. I don't want my mom to spend any more than she did, so we got Super 8s, and basically most of the hotels, motels, whatever, in Hollywood area, they're not going to be the greatest unless you get a good one. So,
Well, we had a bed and we had a sink and a shower and just everything we
yeah,
needed.
we had stuff.
We had stuff. Yeah.
And at least we had a free breakfast, which was something. I mean, you know, they get cereal and
Pastries and
pastries and
coffee.
stuff.
Gotta have coffee.
So we did that,
And so that first evening, we actually took a walk around Hollywood. We saw the Walk of Fame.
Yeah, we were pretty exhausted, but we went walking anyways and walked around a lot and saw the Walk of Fame and
and the Capitol Records.
Capitol Records building, which that's where the Arcade Fire concert was taking place.
And we saw the stage and how it looked, and curious about where they were going to perform because
they were setting up the stage, and then we walked back.
Oh, we saw the Hollywood sign.
Yeah, on our walk we saw the Hollywood sign, and it was very surreal. And it's like 3 months later or whatever, and I still don't really believe that happened.
I know. I mean, it wasn't my first trip to California, but I'd never seen the Hollywood sign that up close before.
It all happened so fast.
I know. Like one day I was working on an entry for the contest, and the next is like, oh my God, we're actually going to do this thing. We're actually going to fly by ourselves to Hollywood.
It kind of brought to my attention how small the world is, and it's like, wow, never thought I'd be here, and I was there. And I think for people, that's a good thing because it kind of opens up the world to you.
So then the next day, we got to LA on the 28th. So the 29th, we got up and then we decided to go see a movie. Wait.
So the 29th was the day of the concert.
The 29th was the day of the concert, but remember?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. We decided to go see Blue is the Warmest Color.
Yeah, we went to the ArcLight Cinemas, the Cinerama, maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
Something, if it's that one right there on Sunset, I think.
Pretty cool because, since I've been back, I've been reading in magazines about celebrities going to that same theater.
Yeah, and I was watching HLN one morning, and they were talking about The Hobbit, and they were shooting some video, and they were talking about, and then this is, how they do it in Hollywood with the big crane, the camera on the crane, and they're pulling out. And then I looked and I saw the movie times, and I was like, oh my God, that was this theater that we just were at. And then there was the outside view, and they're showing the theater. And I was just like, but the thing was, I was thinking, oh, that's funny, they're in Los Angeles. I could have passed a building they were shooting that at. And then it pulls back, and I find out it was the one building that we went into.
And when we bought tickets, we actually got to choose our seats. I've never gotten to do that.
Yeah, I did that for the second time this past other week in DC, which I got to choose my seat. but I hadn't done that before, so you just choose your seat. And we were going to pick a movie. It could have been Gravity, it could have been 12 Years a Slave. But we went with Blue is the Warmest Color because it was only playing like in two or
3 cities in the U.S.
So we're like, let's just go with that one. And we sat there for 3 hours, and my mind kind of wandered because we were in Los Angeles, and it was just blowing my mind. And there's a concert we were gonna go to later that day.
Yeah, we really appreciated sitting down though, because we were walking everywhere. So
yeah, sitting down was good. So our bodies were not moving anymore, but my brain was moving.
Yeah.
And
but the movie was good, and I'm glad we
got
to see it.
The movie was good.
And so after the movie, we walked back to the hotel and got changed. Arcade Fire requested that we all come in reflector costumes. So
that's right. I even had taped my belt, put reflective tape on my belt.
And we had matching reflective capes.
And people took our photos, and
we had
found
the
them
wind
later.
and regime mask.
Yeah, and the masks we had. Yeah, we had some good costumes, and so they did the the concert, and they were recording it all, and it was like live streaming. And after the fact, it was on. There was a couple of songs were on Jimmy Kimmel, and we missed it that night. But when we came back, we saw the video,
And he was on
And-
TV.
in the afterlife around the end, you could. There's a nice shot of me just looking up, and I have my hat on, and I have the tape, and I'm like kind of clapping with the mask. And little bit.
Unfortunately, you know, I'm short, so I'm gonna be hidden because all these tall people are in front of me. But
So that was just a crazy,
it's okay.
crazy thing that happened. And when they did "Here It Comes the Nighttime," that was one of the best moments because there was confetti
Confetti, all.
went firing.
Of course, I collected some for my scrapbook.
Yeah, along with the movie ticket.
Yeah.
And the one weird thing about the concert, it was at the Capitol Records building, like in the parking lot, and the stage was high, so we could barely see the band members. So
I think we only saw like Win and Regine.
yeah, we saw maybe like 4 or 5 of them, but that was for the audience down there. It wasn't really a good view, but it was at the Capitol Records building in Los Angeles, and since we somehow were crazy enough to go out across the country to go see it, it was totally worth it.
I mean, I really think we came the farthest because I
Probably.
think most people were actually from California. The concert was like this big dance party.
And that was really cool.
That
Everybody was dressed
cool.
up,
Yeah.
and there's so many costumes, and it was just great to see all the costumes. Some of them were really cool. Some of them were
And
questionable.
some of them had nothing to do with Reflector.
Yeah, they wanted us to all be a reflector. Of course, there was a lot of different ones that not sure.
Having to do with Disney princess.
Exactly. Well, that was like the one person or
Yeah, I know.
whatever, but that was just funny. But that was quite
But
the concert.
because they were elevated, that meant that everybody could see. Even if we couldn't see the whole band, at least we could see, a couple of the singers,
Yeah, it could have been
So
worse.
It could have been
Could
worse.
have been better. But
The best view
It was
of
free.
the concert, though, was, the people who lived in the apartments next to Capitol Records. Who
They
would sit
had
on
the
their
view.
patios and watch.
they had the view. Those buildings. They had the view.
Yes, they did. But the experience of being there. And of course, when we came home, the whole concert was recorded and we could watch it
Yeah.
for free online.
So that's an amazing part about that.
And I even saw myself, so I was even captured on camera.
Yeah. We both.
During Reflector, we both were.
Yeah, we both were on there somewhere. And
So what was your favorite song that Arcade Fire sang this time?
Well, when they did "Here Comes the Nighttime," that was really cool with the confetti. When they did "Power Out," that was very electric, I would say, and really just all their older songs. Since I hadn't listened to Reflector as much, I wasn't really, caught up to enough to sing along to that many of them. I mean, some of them I could, but when it comes to the older songs like Power Out is just always a charge and full of energy, and could sing along to it. So that was their final song, and that was a highlight.
That was the final song? Okay, because anyway, I really enjoyed hearing Sprawl too. It's like, that was a song I really hadn't paid attention to until I heard it performed at the concert, and now it's like my favorite. It's funny how that happens.
Yeah, it's a great song. And then we had to walk back to the hotel, and
Whew.
goodness, we were exhausted.
Yeah, but it was really, really cool.
Oh, it totally was. And then we woke up the next
It actually
morning.
it was pretty cold that night too for LA.
Yeah, it was kind of cold. We came back on the planes, and
we were glad to come back when we did.
yeah, so we stopped at Chicago, and then then we went back from there, and then like the next day or something at LAX there was a shooting, and then we heard about Chicago O'Hare, and there was like an alligator that was found or something
that's
under
right.
an escalator.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell? These two, it just what? It was like barely. We were just there, and all this stuff starts happening, and go figure. And we could have, if we knew about it ahead of time, we could have went to Arcade Fire's Halloween concert, and then probably came back on that Friday when the shooting happened, which that could have happened. We could have been, and it would have been, we probably would have been stuck for a while. That would have been horrible.
But luckily,
But it didn't happen, so it was
We
fine.
were fine.
It was fine.
And now to this day, I can't believe I went to LA.
I can't. It was so surreal. We're driving back on the shuttle, and I was seeing like the oil things, and then later on, I was seeing Los Angeles and Grand Theft Auto 5, and it was just like, I was just here, and this is blowing my mind. I haven't played the game, but I watched people play it, and goodness, I was like, wow, that is just amazing. So it's just like I was like just there.
But I've been wanting to get him to California. And what better way
Yeah,
to get him to California than Arcade
I was like,
Fire?
okay, yeah, we're gonna go to California one day, sure. I had no idea it'd be this soon, and it already happened, and now I'm like watching movies, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it was there. I'm watching Conan O'Brien, I was like, oh, they're on that street, and they're driving, and then it was like, oh, all these movies.
Aquila and the Bee. I just watched that, and I just saw, Capitol Records building and that. And
all these some of the David Lynch movies, and all these other movies that I keep on saying, like, where's this filmed? Like, oh, it's Sunset Boulevard around there, and everywhere. Like, we walk down that street, or we're watching TV, and it's like, the building, yeah. And the headline news, and
I have a feeling this is not going to be his first, his trip, his final trip.
no, yeah, we're gonna go
California.
back.
We're
and
going back.
I'm gonna go to New
We're
York
going
at some
back
point
to
too,
go
and
to
then I'm
New
gonna
York.
watch. Then I'm gonna watch Annie Hall again, and I'll be like, I've been to Woody Allen's place, and I've been to Diane Keaton's place, and
And we're going to go to London and Paris and
Yeah,
Montreal. We
whatever.
have to go to Montreal.
characters, all those. I don't even want to try to drag people out into that. Characters out into the world. It blew my mind. You got anything else?
Not really. It's just blew my mind too.
Blue is the warmest color, and
I can't believe though that that I've seen Arcade Fires. Like I went from not knowing who they were to like
Bam.
vaguely
Los
knowing
Angeles.
who they were to seeing them in Hollywood.
we just watched Her last night, and they did the score, and it was set in Los Angeles, and that's a whole other video. It's similar because Reflector and Her and what?
Arcade Fire is the greatest band ever.
I totally converted her.
Yes, he did.
It doesn't take much because if you enjoy it. Okay, and that's about it. We probably could dig out more memories, but just crazy.
Yeah.